Welcome back, my friends. All right, so you have done the work. On the last video, you wrote down kind of your ideal life, right? A year from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, where the heck do you want to go? And you also went down and you wrote out, I trust you did this. If you didn't, stop it and write it out right now. You wrote out who you want to partner with, right? Who you want to be in business with, and you wrote out your ideal clients, right? Who do I actually want to serve? Who do I want to bring massive value to? So now we are going to dive into how to go get them. And here's what we're going to dive in. I'm going to ask you to do some numbers here so that you know exactly who you're after and how to go get them and how many you need. So every successful business owner I've worked with, they know their numbers. They're not winging it. They're not really, somebody said one time, they go, hope is not a strategy, right? They're relying on the numbers. They know what they're after. So every successful business owner I've known, right? Every successful agent that I know knows their numbers. They go, hey, look, I want to do this many transactions a year, right? So if I want to do 120 transactions a year, that means that I've got to do 10 transactions a month, which means I've got to put, 2.5 together every single week. And they know that if I've got to put 2.5 together every single week, I really got to put an extra 10, 15% together to make sure everything closes. So they know if I've got to put 3 transactions together a week, then their next question is, who do I need to be in business with? Who do I need to have in my database to make sure that I can do that on a consistent basis? So that way, if you're 3 or 4 weeks into the year, you know, am I on track to hit my goal or am I off track to hit the goal? You've got to know your numbers. Imagine this, if you don't know your numbers as a business owner, if you don't know how many contacts do I need to make a day or how many people do I need to have in my database in order to hit my goal, that would be the equivalent of flying a plane across the country without any gauges. You've got to know the numbers, because when you know the numbers, you know, where do I need to push down a little bit more? Where can I pull back? Am I on track or not? So the question is, right now, wherever you are at in your business, whatever day of the year it is, do you know with 100% certainty that you're on track to hit your goal for the year or not? Or are you winging it, trusting that you'll get to the other side of the country in the right place? You've got to know your numbers. So I want you to figure that out. How many leads, what do I got to do every single day? How many people do I need to have in my database to make sure I'm on track to guarantee my success? Success is predictable if we do the right things. This is the next piece of this. I want you to get clear on one, you're going to take care of your database. That's the first thing. How do I take care of my database at a really incredible level, give them massive value and get massive return from my database? So one of the things I want you to consider is, does your database know how to give you referrals? And here's what I mean by this. Most of us have had the experience. You meet somebody at the store or wherever, and they go, hey, did Joe call you? And you're going, who's Joe? And they go, oh, I told my buddy Joe last week that he should totally reach out to you because you're a great agent. And you're sitting there going, nobody named Joe called me. Yet this person in your database that likes you, cares about you, and wants to help you grow your business sent you a referral in the best way they know how, yet it never got to you. So I'm going to ask you you've got to take a step to teach them how to send you great referrals. So one of the things that I do with my database, especially my database, someone in my database owns a small business or whatever it is, what I'll do is I'll tell them, if I have somebody come to me and they want carpet cleaning, right, because I think you're an amazing carpet cleaner, can I tell you how I'm going to send you that referral? And they go, yeah. And you go, perfect. So if one of my clients says, you know what, we need to get their carpets cleaned, I go, perfect. So here's the switch. Instead of just giving them your name and number, I'm going to actually get their permission to have you call them. Here's why that's huge. Too often, right, I could give them my name and number, or I could give them your name and number. Maybe they lose that piece of paper. Maybe it gets thrown away somewhere, whatever happens, and you never get that referral. Yet I'm going to get their permission to have you call them, and yet I'm going to count it. I know you're going to make that call, right? And you go, absolutely. So what did I just do? I taught them how to give me a referral. So instead of you just giving my name and number to somebody, would you go the extra mile? Would you get their permission to have me call them? Because I don't want them to lose that piece of paper somewhere and then end up with an agent that doesn't care about them as much as I do. Does that make sense? I'm teaching my database how to send referrals, and I'm telling them how I'm going to send them referrals. Make sense? Okay, so that's the first thing I want to work with. Here's this piece that I get excited about. The piece I get excited about is growing your database, is growing the amount of people you work with. So I want you to think about you did this last week. Who do you want to work with? Who are they? And yet here's what gets really cool. I want you to come up with what's your unique value proposition to them. Why would they work with you above any other agent? Why should they work with you? Now, most agents, I'll tell you the value proposition that doesn't work. Most agents, by default, they start using this value proposition, right? Their value proposition is call me anytime. right? Their value proposition is I'm available 24/7. And I'll tell you what, it works. And yet then your clients expect you to be available 24/7. Right? So if you want to not have a life and you want to show houses at midnight for the rest of your life, use that one. If you actually do want to have a life, the value proposition you need to bring to the table is not that I'm available all the time. Are you with me? You've got to craft yours. Cannot tell you how many agents. I've worked with thousands of agents, and there's only a small handful that when I say, why should I work with you as opposed to somebody else? There's only a small handful that I actually answer that question. And that breaks my heart. So I'm going to ask you this week to craft an incredible value proposition, a value proposition that's not targeted at everybody, that's targeted at who you want to work with. So a great value proposition is something like this. It's solving their problem. See, we're paid in direct proportion to the problems we solve, to the value we bring to the table. So when you ask yourself, your ideal client, what's their problem? What's the problem that you could solve for them? And then put that into your value proposition and help them know that you can solve that problem. Does that make sense? So instead of going, we talked about this, there's a book years ago, Power versus Force. And what it talked about was when I push on somebody, if I'm just pushing, right? If it's just force, when I push on somebody, like go, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, I'm the greatest, they just begin to push back, right? When I'm pushing on someone. Now, when I bring value, right? That's powerful. Value pulls people in. Are you with me? So instead of pushing on your clients, I want you to draw them in because you're clear on the value you bring to the table, right? You solve problems for them. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at what's the problem that your ideal people have. How can you solve that? And then how can you put that into a systematic way? So, and this may change from time to time, and it may change on what the market's doing. If the market is, if you're in a hot buyer's market, right, there's a different pain than if you're in a hot seller's market. So if I'm in a market where people can't get their home sold because there's 1,000 homes on the market, I'm going to craft my unique value proposition to address that need, to address that struggle. Clarity on what you do, why you do it, and why it's worth top dollar for people to pay it to you. See, people that consistently discount their commissions, they just don't understand their value. They aren't clear on what they're bringing to the table. Are you with me? Price is only an issue in the absence of value. Why do you think people pay way more money for a certain kind of car than another kind of car? There's more value there, right? You've got to get great at bringing your value to the table, okay? So here we go. A great value proposition sounds something like this. Let me see. I got to move my page. Okay, a great value proposition, it has these 4 or 5 components. It's targeted. It's not after everybody. It talks about who you are, your purpose, the special, unique things you bring to the table, the tools you use to solve their problem, and some of the wins you've had in the past. Does this make sense? So here's a great form. One of my favorite forms, and we'll work this out. It sounds something like this. It sounds like, my name is Wayne. I love working with buyers. But I was fed up with how many offers my buyers were writing and not getting into houses. So I created a unique 3-step system that makes sure that my buyer's offer has a 90% higher chance of getting accepted. And my 3-step system, unlike what everyone else is doing, my 3-step system makes all the difference and is why so many buyers choose to work with me and are able to actually get in their home and get off the sidelines, right? Get off the sidelines, actually get in a home. See, what did I do? I just told them who I was. I told them that I work with buyers. I told them that I was fed up with buyers making offers over and over and over, not getting any houses. They're pain, right? Then I said, I've got a unique way of doing things. I got 3 things that I do, my unique 3-step system that make sure that my buyer's offer has a much higher chance of getting accepted than anybody else's. So then I separated myself, right? I said, unlike what everybody else does, I implemented my 3-step system, and that makes all the difference. What I love about that value proposition is if you say that to somebody, they're going to go, that makes sense. And if they're talking to somebody, they go, man, we're looking for a house. They go, you know what? I think you need to work with Wayne. He's got these 3 things he does to help you actually get into a house, right? It's not so complicated that someone can't translate it to somebody else. Are you with me? It gets really cool when you figure out what your value proposition is. This is powerful stuff. And yet it's going to take a couple minutes to write it down. Take the freaking time to write it down. It's worth it. It's worth so much money to actually figure this out. All right? Take the time, write it down. My name is blank. I love this. I was fed up with whatever it is. So I created this. And by creating that, it made all the difference. Unlike what everybody else is doing, this works. And here's the result. Tell you what, you craft that and you've just separated yourself from everybody else's market and you got this. If you're looking to grow your business with incredible people, here's one of my favorite strategies. So, one of the things that I did years ago was I would call my Met database, no matter how big it was, I would call my Met database and I would ask my Met database who were great service providers that they knew that I should know. So I would call my Met database. I would say something like this: my business is growing, and I'm working with so many incredible buyers and sellers. And most of them are moving. A lot of them are moving here from out of state, or maybe they're moving from one part of town to another part of town, and they're always asking me for great service providers. Right? Who's a great mechanic? Who's a great carpet cleaner? All that kind of stuff. And I'd love to add some more people to my service provider list. So I was curious, who do you know that gives great service? Maybe a plumber, electrician, whatever, that I should add to my service provider list that you know, like, and trust, that I should refer to my other clients. So you're calling your database, you're offering value because I'm building this amazing list. And what's interesting is there will be people in your Met database that own businesses like this that you don't even know about. So this is going to be a massive value. Now, here's where it gets really cool. Okay. So here's where it gets really cool. You're going to call the people they refer you. So that you're going to call your database. Who do you know? They're going to go, I know Joe. Joe's the best mechanic in the entire place, right? So then I'm going to get off the phone. I'm then going to call Joe. And I'm going to say, Joe, this is Wayne. I heard you were incredible, right? Sally said you've been helping them for years. I heard you're an incredible plumber. My question was, are you open to taking on more clients? Like, if I sent great people to you, would you be able to take care of them? Joe's going to go, yeah, I'm in. I'm always looking for new business, right? And so I'm going to do that with Joe. Now, here's where it gets really cool. Then I'm going to ask Joe, who are maybe one or two great search providers that you use, maybe outside of your industry, maybe a carpenter or a handyman or whatever, that I should know. Because that person's probably going to know other people in that service industry, correct? So he's going to give me the name of one or two people, right? Which is incredible. Now, before I hang up the phone, I'm going to ask Joe if it's okay to keep him up on the market. I'm going to ask Joe who he knows that's thinking about, buying or selling a house in the next 6 months. So he's going in my database. I'm building a relationship with him, correct? I might ask him, what's your goal for the year and how can I help you? Okay. So then it gets really cool. Then I'm going to call the 2 or 3 people that Joe referred to me. And I'm going to call them and I'm going to go, Joe said you were the best in the world at, whatever it is, carpet cleaning, handyman, whatever. And then I'm going to go through the same thing with them. Would you be able to take care of my clients? Awesome. Who do you know? They're going to give me some referrals. I'm going to ask them if they want to buy or sell a house. You could build your whole incredible entire database just using this script. And oh, by the way, here's what's amazing about these people. First off, they have a job, right? So they can probably afford to buy a house, right? Second of all, as I'm building the service provider list, I'm going to be thinking about, here's the question I want you to ask yourself. What great service providers would I want to get in a relationship with that have a good opportunity let me say it a different way. Who would a buyer or seller call before they called an agent? And those are the kind of people I want to go after. So a seller may call a carpet cleaner before they ever call an agent. They may call a storage unit company before they call an agent. If I had 50 people that were service providers, the buyers or sellers may call before or that they're going to work with that could send me business, what do you think that would do to my business? Imagine if I had 50 of those people who I'm sending business to them, I'm building a relationship with them, and they have a high opportunity sending business back to me. Do you think that would just blow up your business? You could build an incredibly successful business just using this one script. Call your database. Who do you know is a great service provider? Ask them for business. Call that service provider. Who do you know that I should add? Ask them if they want to buy or sell a house, right? And then build your database out that way. We overcomplicate what it takes to build an incredible database. This is a simple way. And by the way, those are the 50 people, whether it's 30 or 50 service providers. I'm going to take care of those people like they're worth gold, because guess what they are? Those are the people that I'm going to send a book to maybe once a year, once a month, who knows? Those people that I'm going to have a wine tasting for. I'm going to take care of those 50 people at an incredibly high level, because those are the people that have the best opportunity in the world to send business to me. Make sense? And if they're not, I'm going to release them and find somebody else. Go get after it. Get clear, get focused, go get them. Now, sometimes when I start talking about scripts or here's what I want you to say, your mind kind of shuts down, right? Because sometimes you go, oh, a script, I don't want to learn a script. I'm going to sound like a robot. You will sound like a robot if you read it once and then make a call, okay? So there's some strategies behind great calls. Now, a script is, when I say a script, I'm simply talking about in knowing a dialogue pattern. A script is just a path to have a great conversation, yet you've got to internalize the script. It's amazing. Often when you hear a great preacher or a great speaker or whatever it is, that started with a script. It started by them writing out their thoughts. And then the reason it sounds amazing is because they've written that out, they've practiced it, they've internalized it to such a level that when they're actually delivering it, it's like they're having a conversation. It doesn't sound like a script anymore, right? Most people sound scripted because they haven't internalized it, right? It's so funny, right? Sometimes I talk to people and they go, oh, I don't follow a script, and yet they're incredible. And what I realize is that they're following a script. They've just internalized it to such a high level that here's the key. They're able to be present to the conversations taking place. We know that when you're having a conversation with someone, words are only 7% of that conversation. The rest of the conversation is your energy. The rest of the conversation is your tonality. It's your body language. It's everything else. Have you ever had someone call you and you could tell they were smiling? Right? Have you ever had someone call you, you could tell they were in passion, right? It was engaging, wasn't it? So I want you to internalize what you're going to say. Call it a script, call it whatever you want. I want you to internalize that so that then you're able to be present to the call. Then you're able to be present to who you're talking with, right? If I call someone and I can tell that they're having a bad day, I'm going to shift my energy a little bit more, right? If I can tell they go, hey man, what's up? I'm going to shift my energy a little bit. I'm going to be present to that conversation. If I call someone and they're thrilled and right, their energy is in a good place, I'm going to match it, right? I'm going to be right there with them, right? So I want you to think about this when you're making calls. What do you got to do to be present? What do you got to do to make sure that you're coming from contribution? You're coming from the heart. We're looking to help people. Do not lose sight of that. Whether you're calling another someone for business, whether you're calling someone in your database, whatever you're doing, we're coming from contribution. And when we stop doing that, it freaking gets weird. Okay, so right, know what you're going to say so that it's natural, so you can be present to the conversation, and then be there coming from the heart to really add value to their lives. You start doing that. And I guarantee your perception of lead generation will change, because they're not lead generation calls. They're who can I freaking help today calls. Now we're going to take this to an even higher level. You've identified the vendors that you want to work with, the people that give great value and take care of your people. Here's what you're doing. You're beginning to create your own Angie's List. So instead of somebody calling you and you saying, right, go to Angie's List to find a great plumber, you've become the Angie's List for your database. So now what you're doing is you're teaching everyone in your database, when you need a great service provider, you can come to me. That's one of the ways you take care of your people. It's one of the ways you build a fence around your database and take care of them for life. So you've done that. You've called the vendors. You've begun to build relationships. Now I'm going to ask you to take it to a whole new level with these guys. And this concept that I'm going to walk you through can apply to lots of different, whether it's working with new clients, people in your business, people that are already in your database. Yet I'm going to walk through it around your vendors. So you've identified the 30 or 50 vendors that have a great opportunity of sending your business. Now you're going to set up an appointment to meet with them. So I'm going to ask you to reach out with them, say, you know what, I would love to learn more about your business. And I've actually been in this class where I've been learning from this incredible business consultant who's told me, shown me 4 or 5 or 10 ways to really grow my business. And I'd love to share with you some of the strategies that he shared with me. So set up an appointment to meet with these people. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to approach this appointment with the mindset of almost like a coach, the mindset of someone that's coming to add value, the mindset of someone, you're not there to sell anything, you're not there to push something on them, you're there to provide value and help them self-discover ways that they can build and grow their business. So at the beginning, right, you're going to start with, it's a fairly simple outline. The first is going to be the direct opening, right? Hey, I'm thrilled to meet with you. The reason I wanted to meet with you is because I think that we can work together and help each other grow our businesses, right? So today, I wanted to sit down with you because I've learned these strategies, right, that this coach gave me, and I'd love to maybe help you with some of them, learn to discover your business and just figure out what your goals are and how I can help you achieve those. So I guess my question would be what's your goal for this next year? Right? And then you're going to dive deeper. They're going to go, well, my goal is to do, twice as many as I did last year. And you're going to go, perfect. What does that mean for you? What's important to you about that? And I have a list of questions you can download. Yet I'm going to walk you through a couple of them. So you had the impact, then you had the direct, then you had the impact statement. Now we're going to go into discovering, helping them self-discover what's important to them. So they're going to go, doing twice as much business as I did last year means that I'll be a success. And you go, perfect. What does it mean for you to be a success? You're going to keyword backtrack so they know that you're listening, right? What does it mean for you to be a success? And they go, well, being a success means that I can provide for my family. Wow, I love this. So being a success means you get to provide for your family. And what does that look like? Like, what does that mean to you? They're going to go, well, if I was able to provide for my family at a higher level, if we're able to make twice as much money, that means I'd be able to do this and this. And then what's important about that? What's really important about it, you're going to help them dive until they really discover some of their key values, what's really important to them. Now, here's where you really put your coaching hat on. You start to ask a couple great questions. You go, perfect. So doubling your business would enable you to do this and this and this, and that sounds incredible. It sounds like it's really important to you. So let me ask this. What is it going to take to do that? What's the one thing that you could do to double your business? What's the one thing that if you did that, your business would start to grow? You're gonna ask them questions. What's the one thing you could do? What can you do about that? What's the one thing you do to make that happen? Right? What's the next most important action you need to take to make that happen? You're gonna begin to ask them great open-ended questions, and they're going to begin to self-discover some of these powerful answers. Are you with me? All right. So a lot of times what most of us need so often is we just need someone to listen and help us walk through some of these questions. Okay. So when you're really coming from contribution and you're asking them some great questions, they're going to self-discover some of these values. They're going to go, well, I guess if I was going to double my business, I need to make more calls. Perfect. What's the one thing you would need to do to make more calls? Well, I guess I would need to free up some time over here. Awesome. What's the one thing you would need to do to free up some time over here? Well, I guess I would need to hire this person. Awesome. What's the one thing you need to do to hire this person? I need to do this. Perfect. You're going to walk them down that path that by the end of this conversation, within a couple minutes, they're going to go, wow, so I guess the one next thing I need to do is this. You're going to help them provide more clarity in a couple minutes than they've probably had in months, okay? So then you're going to go through that. You're going to help them frame up what's so important about it. Then you're going to recap it, right? So what you're saying is if you did this and then this and then this and this would be huge, and this is the next step you need to take. So what can I do to help you grow your business? What can I do to help make that happen? You're coming from this from a coaching perspective, and all of a sudden you've helped them self-discover how to grow their business, and all of a sudden you've created a relationship for life. One of the reasons we work with people, we continue to work with people, send them business, whatever it is because we feel we have a bond with them. Because we know there's someone that's not here. You're not after transactional business. You're after clients and relationships for life. Are you with me? If you're watching this video, that's what you're about. So dive deep. And at the end, right? What's the one thing I could do as your partner? What's the one thing I could do to support you in the next year to help you hit this goal that's so important for you about taking care of your family and leaving a legacy? You begin to have conversations like this, you will create relationships for life, and you will create a database and service providers that will take care of you no matter what. This is about going deep and leaving a lasting impact. That's what it's about. Go out, have some conversations, figure out what their goals are, how they can get there, and how you can help them. Boom.